So let's write indicative planning. Indicative planning means planning which should work as indicator. That is giving a direction, a perspective, rather than strictly enforcing planning on machineries of government or stakeholders. It is similar to perspective planning. Similar to perspective planning. Practice in liberalized society, liberalized economy. Like first it came in practice in France, and largely liberalized economy practice indicative planning. In India, it was introduced in eighth 5-year plan. It's need for indicative planning. When an economy has major source of investment as private sector, in that scenario, state cannot have a strictly guided plan known as directive planning or socialist pattern of planning. A state guided planning is needed when most of the investments are made by state. First, most of the investments are made by state. Second, the development is led by state machineries like PSUs. Next, the state plays dominant role. Hence, in that scenario, state adopts a strict control approach in planning. To achieve objectives in stipulated time. For instance, planning in first 4 decades in India. But after adoption of new economic plan, new economic policy, first, government role reduced in development process. Second, government had to encourage private investment and development through private sector. Then government also adopted a decentralized approach in planning. decentralized approach in planning. Next, its focus shifted for planning holistically for all sectors and achieving objectives through strict control to focus on social sector. Therefore, in this scenario, indicative planning role is to give broad outlines for respective sectors and adopt a coordinative and persuasive approach rather than a control approach so that the private investments can be molded to achieve the desired objectives. For instance, if government wants investment in social sector, then it cannot force investors to invest in social sector. Rather, it is to devise an attractive policy which will encourage private investment in social sector. For instance, Niti Aayog has devised PPP models for health sector, education sector, housing sector, which is bringing now private investment. Hence, indicative planning gives a direction in economy where the investment should go. Let's say indicative planning in India, although there is no official, let's say that, there is no official recognition of indicative planning and also a system of indicative planning. But the 5-year plan from 8th to 12th and now National Development Agenda have features of indicative planning. like in like from eighth 5-year plan, eighth 5-year plan, planning commission is started first focusing on how to attract foreign investment, next how to make Indian economy competitive, liberalized, next improving infrastructure, governance, next planning started becoming decentralized, like 73rd, 74th Amendment Act. Therefore, the plan components which were implemented by state machineries, there it adopted centralization, decentralization approach. But the developments which happen through private sector, there it adopted a more persuasive approach for devising suitable, attractive policies so that private sector can invest, or private sector could invest. During that time, means after 1990s, over 75% investment come from private sector, only 25% investment coming from government sector. Right. Hence, for this we have indicative planning. For this we have still that centralized, means we had centralized planning. Centralized with decentralization, 73rd, 74th. Right. However, since 2015, indicative planning has become national development agenda. It is also, let's say, it has become need of the society. As of now, due to Indian economy getting globalized, liberalized, and business sector is playing a very big role in development of the country. Hence, it is relevant. But within indicative planning, there should also be a state-guided plan. Having features of centralization and decentralization. As India has still not reached to a stage where it can experience the benefits of flight mode. Right. That is what we can tell. Further, depending on that, you write. I have tried to use two terms, flight mode and taking off. Right. So I guess you understand this. Right. Are you able to understand this? Flight mode and taking off.
Rostov's growth model.
Yes?
Rostov's growth model, right?
Not able to understand. It's not audible what exactly you are saying.
I was saying the model is Rostov's growth model, right? The flight mode and um, the other mode.
Right. Yes, but that we are not here we are saying. Yes, this is how it can be linked in that way, but what we are trying to say is that when the plane reaches in a flight mode, so the pilot can take rest, can take tea, coffee, drink also. Depending on scenario, he can have a short nap also, isn't it? Means he can be relaxed. Because flight mode means the plane will run with a certain speed and there is no any, let's say, you don't have to control and command it. This is how it is. So economy reaches in that flight mode, then state has less need for intervention. State Modi ji can go for having holiday also. So this is how the other countries prime minister they go for holiday. So they can take rest. But ours is a economy, let's say it is still in a taking off position. Many area I will tell you that कि आप बनारस के बाद आपने अगर मैंने एग्जांपल दिया है कि लगेज लेकर के आपने किसी दूसरे डायरेक्शन में आप चले गए तो पता चलेगा कि आप पता नहीं कौन से which place we have come. There is no road, there is nothing. Right. अगर if you go in a planned way on that road तो you think वो what a road, isn't it? बट गलती से आपका लगेज लेकर के आप कहीं और चले जाओ, जंप करके किसी साइड से निकल जाओ, राइट. सो फिर आप देखो उसके पीछे क्या है, राइट. देर इज नो रोड, देर इज नो कनेक्टिविटी, राइट. व्हाट वी आर सेइंग इज दैट कि इन आवर कंट्री पीपल टेक लार्जली शॉर्टकट रोड, they do not go by main road, and shortcut roads are always, let's say that, very poor, not maintained. The highways you can have, but when the state ways we will have, then street ways is still left, right? So highways can be, let's say we have improved highways, but still state ways we have to improve. So that is how, let's say, we are not in a position. So this is what flight mode and taking off position we are using here, not that the economist name you are taking. Yes, he has given also that model. So that way we can tell that there should be planning. With Niti Aayog itself, we are not saying that Niti Aayog is not relevant or not deriding even Niti Aayog. It has done lots of good things. It is doing lots of good things. It will change also, but certainly when there have been such pressures even by N.K. Singh and Vijay Kelkar and then N.C. Saxena recently, they are, let's say that they have worked with the government, so they have also their, let's say, their influence they have, a good influence they have on the government. So maybe that in future Niti Aayog will also try to bring change in its own way of, let's say, working. This we can say. So we'll finish here, and we finish this also chapter. We'll take district administration tomorrow.